Hello everyone, my name is Jeff Neville and welcome to Selective Imagery. Welcome to Thanks for the Memories, Part 13, the 1968 Koni-Omegaflex M 6x7 medium format camera. Hello everyone, this is Jeff Neville for Selective Imagery, and welcome to Thanks for the Memories, Part 13. Have not done one of these in quite a while. I've been wanting to do one on this camera that you're looking at in front of you for a long time, and it's just taken a while to get myself in the right frame of mind to put something together for this. This is a very rare 1968 Koni-Omegaflex M. It's a medium format camera, obviously, and the 6x7 format gives you basically twice the diagonal negative size of 35mm film. So it's a much larger negative. It's actually 25% larger than a 6x6, which is a common format for, is the format for Rolleiflex cameras, okay? The square format, which a lot of people used back in the 50s and before and after. So it's a very, very nice format. It lends itself great for portrait photography and wedding and event photography. It accommodates a lot of the size prints that one would like to do, 4x5, 8x10, 11x14, 16x20, so on and so forth. So it's a really, really great camera versus, having to have just that square format, which is unique, but this lends itself better for weddings and portraits and things like that. Now, this camera was only made for 2 years. It's one of the heaviest medium format cameras. This is an optional grip. You have very large screws on here to loosen, to move the grip up and down. You have a screw adjustment on the handle so that you can move the handle forward or backwards to get it just the way you want. And I'll tell you, without the grip, I wouldn't want to be trying to handle this beast because it is heavy. But heavy isn't always bad because heavy gives you stability. Okay, once you focus and you put your hand underneath the body and you got your hand on the grip, and you're looking down, it's very, very steady. Photographers took pictures at 1/15 of a second with this camera and did not have any problems at all. Now, what's nice about this camera as well is it has an interchangeable back. It uses 120 roll film. You get 10 images off of 120, so you have a 120 film back. Okay, it looks like this. This handle here, knob, has 120 printed on it. And then you have one that says 220, which is going to give you 20 images. Now, this is just the film back. You can see the back side of this. You got the pressure plate. You got where you put your roll film. You got your take-up spool over here. On the back side, when you're looking at the camera from the back, you have a release button that allows you to take this back off when you've rewound all the film. You have your film counter here. You have a little along the metal bezel. You have a circular area that when you are ready to take a picture, it will be green. Once you push the shutter release button, the green dot goes away. Once you pull out this film advance, this particular back is defective, needs to be repaired. Okay, it has a very, it has a film advance clutch. It's a very complex mechanical assembly, and if that clutch mechanism gets messed up, you cannot advance the film. That is probably the weakest point of the camera, is actually the film back. But one thing that is unique about the film back is this pressure plate. When you go to advance the film after you've taken a shot, the pressure plate backs away from the film, so as you're advancing the film, there's no way it's going to get any scratches on it. Okay? And then once it's engaged, once you slide this back all the way in and you've advanced the film, the pressure plate extends and puts the pressure on the film, and it keeps it about as perfectly flat as you can get. That really makes a difference with how sharp your images are. So additionally on this side, you have a little flip-up window that allows you access to a lever for locking and unlocking the back so that you can remove it from the camera. And that's about it. Now, obviously, 6x7 is going to give you better resolution, larger negative size, you know, a true medium format camera, not what some digital cameras that call themselves medium format. We can get into that argument another day. Now, unlike a Rolleiflex or Yashica cameras that are twin lens reflex, you may think this is a twin lens reflex camera because it has two lenses. The bottom lens is still called the taking lens. The upper one's the viewing lens. But unlike those cameras, these lenses are interchangeable as a set. It has a metal backer plate. You may not be able to see it because of the distance here filming, but the plate has 90 engraved on it, so it has a 90mm f3.5 lens, which for a 6x7 camera is considered the standard lens, and the equivalent lens on a 35mm camera would be 50mm. To be more exact, 49.5, but we're going to round it up and say basically this lens is like a 50mm lens on your 35mm camera. And some of the lenses have a little pull-out lens hood for the taking lens. Just pushes right back in. And what's nice is the Mamiya cameras are the only other medium format camera where you could actually put different pairs of lenses with this backer board on. You have two little buttons here with arrows. You push this in, you can pull the whole lens assembly out and replace it. And some of the other lenses were a 58mm f5.6, a 135mm f3.5, a 185mm f4.5, and like I said, you have the 90mm here standard lens f3.5, and these are all Konica hexagon lenses. Some of them have built-in hoods on the taking lens, some of them do not, but they're high quality lenses. And you know, what's nice too is that you can shoot any, for flash photography, you can shoot at any shutter speed you want with the flash. You have different interchangeable viewing attachments available for this camera. I have 2 out of the 3. But let me just show you a front view Okay, not much here. The buttons to pop off the backer board with the lenses. You have a PC sync connector up at the top over here. You have your shutter release button in the front, and I know you can't see it, but if you were looking from my viewpoint, looking across the back of the shutter release button, you have two black dots. You have like a ring that you can rotate like an interlock. And there's a little nub that sticks out from the ring, okay? If the nub is at the 3 o'clock position, I cannot take a picture. If I move the nub down to the 5 o'clock position, the two dots line up and I can now release my shutter. So you have like a safety interlock there so you don't accidentally take a picture when you don't want to. The optional grip that I talked about, this is to route your cable release through. On this side, you have your focusing knob, which has a lot of engraving on it with different distance indicators for different lens types. If you're looking at this surface of the knob, that'll give you your distance once you've focused for either the 180 millimeter lens or the 58 millimeter lens. You have different engravings along this part of the knob, okay, with a line down the middle, and one is the distance in feet when using the 90 millimeter lens that's on here now, and the other side is for the 135 millimeter lens. And then you have a metal plate here that you use to calculate your depth of field. You have a cold shoe on the top. You have a locking lever to unlock the film back and the film magazine. This is just the film back, okay? It attaches to a film magazine and that whole assembly can come out. And what's good about that is you can have a film back with the film magazine, and that way you can have black and white film in one, you can have color film in another. You can have a 120 film back on one for 10 pictures. You could have a 220 film back on the other one to get 20 pictures. So you have all these combinations, which is really, really great to have that capability. And we'll get into how you remove the back in a few minutes. Okay, like I said, this is not like a Raleigh Flex or a Yashica camera, which is a TLR. This is really a view camera. With those other models, your ground glass is horizontal. It's going this direction. You're looking down. You're flipping up the hood, and you're looking down waist level finder unless you buy an optional one. Okay, this type of camera, I'm going to take off this, what they call a reflex viewer, which is used for, chest height, looking down, okay? I can pop this off. There's a button like this on each side. I push them in, I take it off. Here's the back. There's your ground glass. Your ground glass is vertical. You have no mirror, okay, reflecting the image up through the ground glass like on a Raleigh where you're looking down, where your ground glass is this way. So there's no mirror needed. So it's really a viewfinder type medium format camera. I can attach this viewfinder on here. Now it's eye level. Okay, this one has a 3 times magnification in it, whereas the reflex viewer has a 2.8 times magnifier in it. And then you have one that would flip up with like the little barn doors, right? Flip up. It'd be similar to what you'd have on a Raleigh, but it would flip up this way. and they have that as a third option. So easy enough to use. I just make sure that my shutter button is unlocked. I make sure I've advanced the film. I pull this out and push it in to advance it. I'm now on shot 3. I see a green indicator over here that tells me I'm ready to take a shot. I focus, I compose, I take the picture. I advance the film, I can take another one. Advance the film, take another one. That is what they call, a rapid advance mechanism for the film. So I could shoot images really as fast as I can pull this out and slam it back in. Whereas with a Raleigh or a Yashica, I gotta pull the crank handle out, turn it, back it up, push it back in place, take a picture, same thing, pull out the lever, turn it. So this is much, much quicker to take pictures with. Now I could also take this particular viewfinder and I can rotate it so that if I'm taking an image in this direction and looking down, I can do that. Okay? Now the ground glass on this has a center area that's clear. It aids in focusing in poor light, makes it easier for you to focus quickly. We went over the depth of field indicator lines. Now the film back utilizes what's called a dark slide. Now I'm going to show you the back of this camera, and I'll flip this out. See this little lever, I'm going to pull this out. This is a storage compartment for what they call a dark slide. When I'm not using it, I just slide it in the camera back. You hardly know it's there. When I need it, I have it. So I know what you're thinking. Well, what is a dark slide? What does it do? Why do I need it? This will slide into a very, very small groove on the side of this film magazine. This will allow me to block the light. Like I said, I'll take my glasses off here so I can see a little better. Okay, so here's the dark slide going in. It's in all the way. So why would I use that? I need to have the dark slide in if I'm going to take these lenses off and replace them with a different pair of lenses. Otherwise I'm going to have light hitting the film. So that dark slide blocks that from happening. I also need to put the dark slide in if I'm going to remove the film back with the magazine so that I can put in, maybe I only take 4 shots. I got black and white film in here. I take 4 shots. Now I want to take color. I have a film back with the magazine. You'll see the whole assembly in a second. Once I put in that dark slide, okay, I can unlock it, pop the assembly out. Okay, there's the dark slide. If I pulled this out with film in it, I'd be exposing it to light right now. With the dark slide in, I can switch film all I want, not a problem. Okay? So that's what's nice about this system. So it takes me a minute. It always takes me a minute to get this thing aligned properly.
2 minutes later.
There we go. Then I could take the dark slide out. Store it in the back of the camera back, and I'm ready to go. Go to shot 6, take a shot. Now when you get to 10, I'm going to advance this till I get to 10. When I get to 10, it makes a thunk, a very loud sound. Then it locks. I can't pull this out. I have to push this release lever to lift up the handle and then pull this out. And then when it's out all the way, I see 3 red dots. I push it in, 2 red dots, 1 red dot, and then it says load. Once it says load, that film is rewound in the cartridge. I could take off the camera back. I don't have to remove the film magazine, just take off the camera back, put a new roll of film in and go. Once that film is in, it's still going to say load. When I pull this out, it goes to a single green dot. Then it goes to 2 green dots. Then it goes to the number 1. Now it's ready to take a picture. Out and in goes the number 2. So the only time you got to use that dark slide, if you're changing your lens or you want to take the film back off with the magazine to put a different roll of film in there. Now the shutter speed dial is in the front of the taking lens from B to 1/500th of a second. Behind that, closest to the body, you got your apertures f3.5 to f32. The shutters can be synchronized for electronic flash or bulb mode at all speeds, like I said before, because you have a leaf shutter in the lens, so you could use any shutter speed you want. And to change your sync is kind of a pain. There's a little slot, which you're not going to see, on the bottom of the lens, and you need like a toothpick or something, or a little screwdriver. It has like a slide on it. You push it with the instrument, and then you see the letter X. It's in electronic flash mode, X sync, and then M sync is for your flash bulbs. And then it has what they call film margin identification, which I really can't show you. I can only talk about it. When you take the film magazine out, there's actually something inside the camera that will put from 1 to 9 dots that'll show on the margin of your film negative. So what you could do is you can like preset that, and maybe you want to have 2 dots signifies that these negatives are of a portrait. Maybe 3 dots is a wedding, 4 dots is a landscape, whatever code you want to use. So it will actually put that on the margins of your negative. So it's a way of being able to, you know, look at your negative strip and know what genre or type of photography that you took with that particular roll of film. Now these cameras were originally used for aerial photography, but soon they were used by wedding photographers due to the extra negative size and the aspect ratios. And then it got used by, press photographers in you know, they were shooting this camera at 1/15 of a second and getting good images, getting nice sharp images with it. Now this camera was developed from an existing camera line called the Koni-Omega Rapid M rangefinder, and they called it Rapid M because of the rapid film advance. Okay, that's where it got that name from. It used the same grip, it used the same film backs. So that's another option. Obviously that wasn't you know, a viewfinder type camera with ground glass and two lenses. It had, you know, a single lens on it, and it was a rangefinder type of camera. So this is a great collector camera, very hard to find. I had to buy multiple, you know, a new back. I had to buy, you know, different types of viewfinder accessories for it. It took a while, and I had to find a you know, a dark slide. It didn't have a dark slide. I had to find one of those to make it so I have a functional, usable camera. But I may, you know, use it, want to use it for at least a couple times anyway, and then it's going to be, I hate to say it, a trophy queen, because if this sucker breaks, it's never going to be able to get repaired. So I want to make sure that I have a workable, usable camera in my collection. So it will be used just to say I've used it and see how the pictures come out. But it's not going to be something I'm going to take out and shoot all the time. I don't have a problem shooting the Raleigh all the time, but that you could still find people that can work on those. This one, you're out of luck. So I think that's about it with this camera. So it's great for collectors, but hard to find accessories, very hard to find camera backs that don't look like they got run over by a truck. I mean, these cameras were worked really, really hard in the day. And I'll end it with that. And as I always say, enjoy life, capture some of it. No matter what camera you're using, you're going to get great images. You don't have to have the latest and greatest. There's nothing wrong with using a vintage camera. It's a whole different experience for those of you that haven't done it. It forces you to slow down and take your time and worry more about composition. And obviously film isn't cheap, so you know, you're not just going to sit there and blow off, you know, unlike a DSLR where you're shooting off at 20 frames, 30 frames a second or more. It's a different experience, one that I recommend that you consider as an occasional use type of thing to get back to the roots of photography. But enjoy what you have and get out there and have a great time. And I am waiting for a camera, another vintage camera that's special to me. Also very hard to find, at least one that's decent. So I'm not going to spill the beans, tell you what it is, but I'll be doing a video on that when I get it. In the meantime, hope you enjoyed this one. Subscribe if you haven't already. I would appreciate it, or at least at a minimum, give me a thumbs up and leave me a comment. Have a good one.